Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today we're continuing our Elvenar tutorial series, and I decided to do a few videos on fighting in tournaments, because that's another big part, especially in the end game, of what you do in Elvenar. We have done a few tutorials on the Spire, and I think now it's time to do some tournament videos. So today we have a Scrolls tournament, which is pretty much by all accounts the toughest tournament there is, and we'll tackle it. So here's how I'm planning to do that. I'm not going to record the whole tournament run, but I'm going to record the whole run what I do for the 2-star provinces. The reason for that is that that's where most of the early goodies are, meaning a crap ton of KPs. So that's what you should probably be aiming for. A lot of people do that. If anything, try to do as much as you can up to 2 stars, because starting from province 10 and every single province afterwards, you will get 5 KP out of that, which is excellent value. And it's not that tough at 2 stars yet, not like in 5 stars, where you would also have quite a bit of KPs, but at significantly higher costs. So here's what we're gonna do. I have a 50 provinces open, so I did the 1-star provinces already, and I will just do 2-star all 50 in one go. Probably not a whole lot of commentary. I will repeat different matchups here and which troops I'm going to use, but by and large what we are doing here is just memorizing matchups and what you want to use, what kind of troop setups you would want to use with them. Again, as I mentioned before, all things fighting could be highly situational, depending on what your city is, where it's at, what kind of boosts are out there, what kind of Ancient Wonder levels do you have. That may significantly affect which troops actually you want to field for each encounter, or in particular setup. So in this case, that's our Chapter 16 city. We have all possible troops unlocked. I mean, all our troops are 3-star troops. That is important. If you are way earlier than that, don't have all 3 stars or most of the 3 stars unlocked, then quite a few matchups could be different. I may mention some of that, but realistically things in the earlier to mid game change very quickly. Just adding a single star for a particular troop may change things considerably. So here we are focusing on the closer to the end game setup. Also, this being a Scrolls tournament, the tough one, what I have out there is 1 Dwarven Armor, so plus 50 health boost. I have 1 Magnificent Mage multiplier, so plus 50 mage damage. I also have Enlightened Light Range, so plus 50 damage to light range, as well as the Fire Phoenix, which is fed, so now plus 50 damage to everyone. So pretty well-rounded setup, and that's pretty much what you need for this tournament, because at least the way I play it, we will be using quite diverse setup of troops. So we're not just going to be using a single troops type. That's probably the most variety, or at least I would use in any tournament out there. And I mentioned this before, I'll say what I have currently in terms of Ancient Wonders. So it's 21st, level 21 for Martial Monastery, so that's about 22.5% extra health for every troop. And I have all 5 damage boosters. damage boosting Ancient Wonders, and they're all about 18 to 19 extra percentage in terms of damage boost, so that's level 11 and 12. I'll put that in the description. So, why don't we just jump into this? I'll try to go as quickly as I can, and you may also see how much time does it roughly take to go through 50 provinces without thinking too much, and see for yourself if it's something what you want to do or not. So there we go. So here we have our province list open. Just keep in mind the first 9 encounters are different from the rest. They're easier, even on the relative basis. So don't pay too much attention to the matchups, what you will see there, because they would not repeat. Starting from encounter number 10 and onwards, really until infinity, I suppose, every encounter starting from province 10 is basically the same. Well, not the encounter is the same, but the setups are the same. So basically all the in any encounter past province number 10, you will have a chance to experience exactly the same lineup of setups in terms of enemies. The only difference would be a number or the squad sizes for both your troops and your enemy troops. So they grow by 5% with each next province. So don't pay too much attention to the first 9, but starting from 10, the matchups that you will see there, they will be repeating in all encounters. All right, so let's get going. So here's province number 1. And okay, so in this encounter, we see mostly light range and mages. That's the most common setup around here in this tournament. And what I like to do, which apparently not that many people like to do, is to use drone riders for that. These are actually pretty good for that. Well, let's just look at them quickly. So drone riders are good against both light ranged and mage units, which is exactly what we have there. Well, not right now. And they are specializing against light range, so that's the most common setup in this tournament. So I like them for that. I mean, they're not great being melee and whatnot. They're not super awesome against mages, so I wouldn't be using them. There's tons of mages. But against light range, they're not terrible. They have very good extra damage against light range. The defense boost, that's where it's kind of the weak spot. But that's why we have Dwarven armor and other things. So overall, at that stage of the game, I find that drone riders work really well in this tournament for me. And that's actually going to be our primary unit for this tournament. Alright, so this one is gonna be Banshees. So then you see 2 mages, 2 heavy range. That's what I use Banshees for, and only 1 counter unit. So generally what you would want to try is to get no more than 2 counter units for each encounter. Okay, so in this encounter we see only mages and light range, and they're in equal amounts. That's the only time then I use sword acrobats here. Basically, when it's mostly mages and light range, and they're in the equal amounts. So, and the reason for that is not because they're particularly good, but because they are free. They are produced in Dwarven Bulwark, and I need to use them sometimes, and that's kind of a good opportunity to throw them in. So you will see that we'll have, well, not right now, but fairly significant losses in these matchups. But again, that's the free troops, so might as well. So again, mostly light range, a bit of mages, so that's our drone rider setup. And that's our first province. So again, I probably won't be commenting too much in the first 9, just because again, these are usually unique setups. So you see, that's where we have 3 counter units. So we won't be using any of that. Not great. Yeah, so that's what we're going to be using in this case. And that's going to be strategists. Yeah, not amazing setup. As you can see, some losses. Yeah, just one thing keep in mind while I'm kind of like powering through the first 9. This is a tournament when you're gonna have losses. You're gonna have a ton of losses. I don't care which boosts you have and which ancient wonders you have developed and how high it is. You are gonna take losses in this tournament. You may take somewhat less than some other people, but it's gonna happen. So just roll the punches here, and yeah, just make sure you have enough troops. Yeah, it's a great setup for drone riders. Yeah. So you will see that in some cases we will be seeing quite nasty losses, and that's just what it is. So I will probably tell you at the end what was the total losses for the this round 2 star. And yeah, that would be pretty high. The good news is that pretty much any other tournament type, well, your losses would be less than that. So okay, that's our, again, mostly light range and mages, but there are more mages here, so that's our Cerberus setup. Yeah, you see, even here we're already taking some losses. That's the thing with melee, that's not much you can do about that. Well, outside of not using melee, but that's not ideal in many cases in this tournament either. Alright. Okay, equal amounts, so we go acrobats. Again, acrobats. Okay, that's pure light range. That's the excellent setup for the orc strategists. No matter which star level of the province is, if you have pure light range, strategists are your weapon of choice. You will take almost no losses. Yeah, again, so here we have just light range and a little bit of heavy range, so that's again the orc strategist setup, because they're excellent against light range and they're okay. Again, it's kind of the same unit type against heavy range, so yeah, not too bad. But again, we are in a very early provinces, so that's where you will have, yeah, actually this one is slightly different. So in this setup, I used to do benches because they can like 2 comparables, 3 weak units and 2 counter units. But nowadays I'm actually using forest wardens for that. They don't look as good just purely on paper, but they do actually quite well in this matchup. Yeah, and that's again excellent matchup for the strategists. Yeah, as I mentioned before, keep in mind that as you evolve in terms of your boosts, in terms of your ancient wonders and whatnot, you may find out that certain unit types become better in different matchups. I can totally see that, let's say, light range might take over some of these matchups if you have enough damage and other boosts. Simply because it's just such a versatile unit and it goes first. So yeah, it just works in many scenarios. But for now, I have tried to do a lot more light range, and yeah, in this tournament at my level of development, not ideal to say the least. So drone riders really work well here for me. Okay. So I'm just trying to quickly get to province number 10. So we're at 6 now. Okay, yeah, that's another Banshee setup. 1 mage, so comparable, 3 weak units and 2 counter units, and you see that's sometimes what happens. Especially if the terrain is not great. Yeah, you take losses, even like that, significant losses, even in the 2-star encounters. And remember, that's including boots and whatnot. Yeah, this one is clearly a Banshee setup, so 2 comparables for weeks. But we won't see actually those ones in the 10 plus provinces. So that's our strategists. All right. Yeah, that's a perfect setup of strategist. You can't get any better than that. Practically no losses even at the highest star encounters. Yeah, equal light range mages. Yeah, here goes our cannon fodder. And yep, that's our strategists again. No counter units for those. Okay, so we are getting to number 9. Yeah, that's the one I believe that I'm using the Forest Wardens. Yeah, you see, not ideal, but the Banshee losses would be at least comparable, if not worse. And Forest Wardens tend to do better, or keep doing better in the higher star encounters, because in 2 stars there are lots of encounters you can win no matter what. I mean, you can take high losses, lower losses. But in the 5-6 star encounters, you may, even at that level of development, still lose. And that's where actually the light range units tend to, well, not get better, but they don't fall off as hard on some other unit types. So you may want to use more Forest Wardens in this particular case. Probably in 5 and 6 star encounters, especially if you have ELR boosts. If you have more than what I have, which is just 1, then well, they become more and more powerful. So if you have a lot of ELRs, as in like 2, 3 maybe, if not more, then yeah, a lot of the encounters here you can do just purely with light range. Alright, so now we are to encounter number 10. So from here on, all encounters would be taken from the same pool, so they all be the same. So now you just may want to memorize them, basically. Okay, so you see mostly light range and mages, so that's our, and way more light range, so that's our drone rider setup. And yeah, well, took some losses, but again, still we are doing, that's the same number of mages and light range, so that's our sword acrobats. And here comes our defeat. Yeah, that's... it seems a little bit weird. Sometimes that happens. Like for instance, in the last time around, that definitely didn't happen this way, but basically at one point in time, usually it happens in like 3rd and 4th star encounters, then I completely switch out from the acrobats, and in the places where I would use acrobats, I would just use Cerberus. like so. So yeah, basically any places where you could use acrobats, you can use Cerberus, and you would do better, generally speaking. The only reason why I'm throwing acrobats in, because they are free. Okay, so again, more light range than mages. That's the drone rider. And here we have just heavy range and light range, and that's our strategist setup. No counter units for that. Okay, not too bad, but still taking some losses because there's some heavy range in there. All right. Yep, that's the Banshee setup. 2 mages, 2 heavy range, and 1 counter unit. That's Banshee with the boost. They do quite well in these encounters. Yep, that's pure light range. That's all orc strategists. Would be excellent. Yep, as you can see, almost no losses. And that's similar setup, except we have some heavy range there. And we took a little bit more losses, but still very, very good. Okay, that's again our cannon fodder setup. And as you can see, even then we are taking some losses here. And yeah, that's just what it is. Okay, so that's again mostly mages and light range, but more mages, so that's our Cerberus setup. And you see Cerberus, while certainly being better than Acro, but still taking quite significant losses in this matchups. So again, light range and heavy range, that's orcs, orc strategists. And here comes our setup with 4 mages and 2 heavy range, and that's where I go Forest Wardens. Even though heavy range is counter unit, that's not great against Wardens, and they absolutely annihilate mages. So you see we took some losses on this heavy range, but yeah, it's better than if we would go Banshees, let's say. Again, now that's our drone riders, more light range than mages. Nice. Similarly, except we have a 1 counter unit as well, so still drone riders, but we'll have more losses, yeah, as you can see. That's the cannon fodder setup. Yep, you can see we are just bleeding them out. Yep, that's our drone rider setup again. And light range, heavy range, that's the strategists. Okay, 2 heavy range, 2 mages, 1 counter unit, that's Banshees. So they're good against 2, they're okay, comparable against 2, and not too bad against 1, so yeah. And this is strategists again, that's one of the best setups around here in this tournament. Unfortunately, don't come that often. And again, similar, except 1 heavy range in the mix, still pretty good. And here we go with acrobats again. All right. Okay, more light range than mages, so drone riders. More light range than mages, so drone riders. All about the same, not about the same, and counter unit. Yep. So basically, at that point in time, I should probably be skipping doing acrobats for even balanced encounters where I have a country unit like here and go straight to Cerberus. So I'm not going to be doing that again. Yeah, you see, even then, getting crushed. So probably terrain is not great there, that the melee is getting stuck. And yeah, that's what happens. Light range, more light range than mages, drone riders. Alright. Okay, so that's our strategy set up. No well, no strong units against them. More light range than mages, so drone riders. Similarly, drone riders. I use a lot of drone riders. Again, 4 mages, 2 counter units, that's the Forest Warden. Like that. Okay. Alright. A lot of light range and only 1 heavy range. That should be good for the strategists again. Yeah, pretty good. Okay, more mages than light range, so that's our Cerberus setup. Yeah, pretty good. And no country units, more light range than mages, drone riders. Yeah, again, this is one of these sketchy matchups. As I said, you can go with the banshees there. Nowadays I tend to go Forest Warden, and they do pretty well here. Alright, we are getting close to province number 20. Okay, yeah, you see, like, normally I would be just using light melee here, as in sword acrobats. But yeah, you see, like, at that point in time, given the boost what I have, we're already losing some of these encounters, so I'll go straight to Cerberus. And we did win, we did take quite a few losses. Yeah, way more light range than mages, so drone riders. Didn't do too badly there. Similarly, drone riders again. Pretty good. And drone riders all the way. Not bad. Alright, so that's 18. We're getting to province number 19. Okay, a lot of light range, some mages, drone riders. And okay, 2 heavy range, 2 mages, 1 counter unit, that's Banshee setup. Not bad, again some losses. Okay, this one, I still go with Sword Acrobats because no counter units, we should do alright here. Yep, pretty okay. Alright, lots of light range, few mages, drone riders. Alright. And here comes our province number 20. And that's our drone riders setup. Lots of light range, some mages. Nice. Alright, and let's go drone riders again. And yep, that's Cerberus setup now, because of the counter unit in there. Yep. Not greatest matchup here. Okay, and here comes our drone riders. Light range, more than mages. And all right. Okay, so now we are done with 20 provinces at 2 stars. All right, so let's just see how many losses did we get so far. Let me just quickly go back. Okay. So what we've got here so far is in the first 20 provinces, 2-star provinces in this tournament, we have lost pretty much 50 squads across the board. So as you can imagine, we're gonna lose more than that if we continue up into province number 50. But yeah, that's the kind of losses you can expect given this strategy and the boosts that I have right now. That's the first 20. So let's I'll probably make a cut here and we'll see how it goes for the next 10 provinces or so.